Hi guys, today I'm back with another Oily Skin Diaries review. The foundation in question today is from Bare Minerals. This is the Bare Minerals BarePRO Performance Wear Liquid Foundation. Now I've talked about this a little bit already and I've raved about it, so hopefully today I will be able to show you exactly why I love it so much. I will have listed down below my shades and other popular foundations along with timestamps for this review, so if you just want to see application before and after, flash photo test, or how it wears throughout the day, that will all be listed down below. And if you're curious about a foundation and wondering if I've reviewed it or not, you can either check the playlist below or just type Samantha Jane and then the foundation name, and then that will give you your results. But let's go ahead and get started with this guy. This foundation retails for $34 American, $42 Canadian. It comes in a glass bottle with a pump, which I know the majority of us appreciate. You're getting 1 fluid ounce in here, which is the average size of a foundation, and there are 30 shades in the range, which is awesome. And just looking at the Sephora website and from what I've seen of other people wearing this foundation, it seems like it is an actually good range that seems to go from light to deep. But if you have any experience with this foundation, of course, let us know down below. It says that it is a matte finish, full coverage, and there is an SPF of 20 in here. So of course, I will do a flash photo test and we will see how it looks in flash. So let's go ahead and put this on my face. I have primed this half of my face with a mattifying primer to see how it reacts when primed. If you didn't already guess, I do have quite oily skin, and in MAC, I'm an NC 42. Let's start with this half of my face. It's the most problematic right now. And I'm wearing the shade 22. I've also worn the shade 21. And they also have this brush as well, which came out with it, and it's super dense. I wasn't expecting to like it. It's a little bit of a weird, a little bit unique, I guess, but I actually do quite like it. And online it says you can use 1 pump, which you absolutely can, but I find I generally use more than 1 pump to get it up to the coverage that I like. But it is, oops, sorry, it is quite buildable. So depending on the skin issues that you have, you can build it up to whatever you want, but I can get it quite full, but you can also wear it medium too. It just depends on how much you put on your face, like most foundations. I always get a little bit nervous when I'm reviewing foundations that I've pumped up a ton. So I'm like, you better do good, you better look good, and show the people what I've been talking about. As you can see, it blends out super easily, covered up all that redness that I had on my skin. And I didn't spot conceal. It just blends so nicely, and this is a great color match for me. So as you can see, I've built the foundation up to about a medium full. I used about 3.5 pumps on my face, and I find that this foundation actually pumps out a lot less than the average foundation in my opinion. So that gives you a little bit more control on how much product you're actually using, which I really like. It doesn't have any scent, and it's also non-comedogenic and non-acnegenic, and then formulated without parabens and sulfates if that's something that's important to you. So I really like the coverage. It blends in beautifully. The primed side is slightly smoother than the unprimed side of my face, but by no means does this enhance any texture or any pores on my skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on the rest of my makeup, take some flash photos, and report back. I have the rest of my makeup on now, and I think that everything looks great. It dried down to about a natural matte finish, so if you have a more dry or even potentially normal skin type, you may not need to set this, but I set it because of course I have incredibly oily skin. I'm also wearing the Bare Minerals BarePRO Contouring Trio, which I've really been enjoying, especially the under eye powder in here, and then also one of their liquid lipsticks to keep the Bare Minerals thing going. Overall, everything blended on my skin beautifully. I mean, this is not a first impression. I've worn this foundation a million times, and I've also reviewed the powder version of this foundation, so I will link to that down below. It was around this time last year actually. So overall, I'm really happy with how it looks, and I've taken tons of photos with this foundation, either here in my studio, aka my den that I split with my boyfriend, or in natural light, and I've always loved the way that it looks. It looks so flawless in person, in filming, when taking photos, so I knew that that was going to perform really well. What I hadn't tested was the flash photo test, and what I kind of expected with an SPF of 20 and titanium dioxide, we're getting flashbacks. So it kind of depends on your lifestyle. For me, it's basically a non-issue. I've been wearing this foundation for over a month. I have yet to be out at night and taken a flash photo and had an issue with it. If that being said, if you are out at night and taking a lot of flash photos, absolutely something to keep in mind, but for me, day to day in my life, it's not an issue, and I've been really happy with how it has worn. So kind of a personal preference thing, but I'm gonna go ahead about my day. I'll check back with you midway in some natural light, and then of course at the end of the day to show you how it all held up.
My sound was a little messed up here, so just going to do a quick voiceover. There is Rue. But overall, at this point, I'm really happy with how things look. A little bit of oil peeking through, but overall, really, really happy with it. And I'm not going to blot or powder just to show you how long I can wear this foundation. And I'm just talking about how it feels really comfortable on the skin. And if you have oily skin, you know this feeling. But when you're wearing a foundation that's just, you know it's going to slip and slide around and things are going to fall apart, this just feels completely locked into my skin without feeling dry or cakey on the face. And I also do, at this point, feel like I could have gone a shade down. I'm definitely starting to move into my winter color, but overall, really happy with how it's going so far.
We've made it to the end of the day, and I've had this foundation on for an incredibly long time, just over 12 hours, I think, and I have yet to touch up. And normally I will blot or something like that throughout the day in a review, but I really wanted to show you the amount of longevity I can get out of this foundation. Obviously, I am starting to look a little bit more haggard. It's been on for about 13 hours. But if you see, my blush, bronzer, highlight is still all completely in place. I am going to just powder because, I mean, on an average day I would have kind of powdered, but what I noticed about this was my oil started to come through around when I checked in with you at about 1:30, 2 o'clock, but it just kind of like stayed at that same level and didn't get any more oily. So I have oily skin. I expect to get oily no matter what. But what I look for in a foundation is something that's actually not going to break down on my skin, and at no point did it like feel like oily or heavy on my skin, which is so incredibly important. I'm gonna do a light powder. So I actually just got back in the door, I went to dinner, and I didn't even feel like I really needed to blot. Like I could have blotted, but I just really wanted to prove a point and drive home how much I like this foundation. I do think the shade is a little, like a hair too deep for me, so I will start using my lighter shade, and I have been using that, so I probably should have used it today, but I wanted to look tanned for whatever reason. But overall, I'm just looking in my mirror over here. I think things look really good considering it is like 13 hours in. I highly, highly recommend this foundation. It is one of the best foundations I've tried in an incredibly long time. Of course, everybody's gonna have a different experience with it, so let me know down below how you, like, if you have tried it and how you feel about it. But for me, this is a foundation that I wore for like 2 weeks straight, and it's absolutely something I will continue to use, repurchase. I can count on it. It feels great on my oily skin. If you have combination of normal skin, I think you'll like this as well. Dry skin, I'm not totally sure. It doesn't feel super dry and matte on my skin, so it kind of depends. I can only kind of guess on how dry skinned people feel about it, but for me, I really, really love this, and it absolutely looks fabulous on the skin. Oh, I forgot the primed versus unprimed now that I've powdered, but they do seem to look about the same. This side is maybe a hair smoother, so definitely looked good with and without primer. That's totally a personal preference for me. I'm still not totally convinced that primers do a whole lot, but anyways, overall I really, really love this foundation. I highly recommend it. It has great coverage, great lasting power, good oil control, and just stays on the skin really well. I feel like it has a very low transfer as well. I find any foundation as it gets oily will start to transfer more, but it definitely still looks super great on my skin after all of this time. Overall, highly, highly recommend it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!